A few of you suggested I make a Halloweek video on specific mythical creatures. However, why not compile a whole list of them? Because who really needs to sleep at night anyway? So, for the first one, imagine that you are just sleeping peacefully in bed, or rather dramatically as this woman is, and you look up and see this fuzzy ball of nightmares. This is an Alp hailing from Germany. Fun fact, I hate the idea of Alps. What do Alps do? They come into your room at night, sit on you and cause nightmares, sleep apnea and sleep paralysis. And while these types of attacks are rare, some Alp don't quite understand the idea of consent, getting a bit touchy-feely sometimes. The Alp is associated with vampirism because it likes to drink blood from the nipples of men and young children, although the preferred victims by a male Alp are women because they like the taste of breast milk. That's not the end of it though. As well as coming into your room, causing unholy terrors and drinking your blood and sometimes your breast milk and getting a bit too personal without your consent, they also like to cause a lot of trouble. If the sign of the cross is not made on a nappy, or diaper for my American friends, after a baby has been changed, the Alp will come back later on and put the soiled nappy back on the baby. They also enjoy tangling hair into elf knots and chewing and twisting horsetails. Horses don't particularly enjoy Alps as well because they will take them out at night to ride until the horse is exhausted and will also crush smaller farm animals to death. They will also milk cows dry and sour milk that's in the house, just because they can. The Alp is considered a demon which could be created from the spirits of recently deceased relatives. Children can become Alps if a woman bites on a horse collar to ease the pain during an extremely long birth. Or the Alp could possibly be a result of a stillborn child coming back to life. However the Alp is made, I would not like to have this in my home because it will cause terror and mischief. So not only will I be terrified, but I will have a lot of cleaning up to do afterwards. I would stay away from ponds and lakes in Lancashire, Liverpool, North Staffordshire, Cheshire and Shropshire because Jenny Greenteeth could be living there. While she is known as Wicked Jenny in Cheshire and Shropshire, she's essentially the same being, green-skinned with long hair and sharp teeth. She lurks beneath the pondweed or duckweed that forms a mat over the surface of a small body of water, waiting for a child or an elderly person to come by, where she would pull them in and drown them. Her being is very similar to the storm hag, which is said to be a green-skinned woman with teeth like sharks but green, as well as yellow eyes, who rests at the bottom of a lake and sings a song whenever a ship approaches. Come into the water, love, dance beneath the waves, where dwell the bones of sailor lads inside my saffron cave. If you were to go to the countryside of Leicestershire, in a cave in the Dane Hills, with a great oak tree at the entrance, you might have an unfortunate meeting with Black Anise, also known as Black Anise or Black Anna. It is said that she ventures out at night looking for children and lambs to eat, then tanning their skins by hanging them on a tree before wearing them around her waist, because she does have a sense of fashion. She will also reach inside the houses to snatch people. She has long iron claws, and according to legend, she used them to dig her cave out of the side of a sandstone cliff, making a home there, which is known as Black Anice's boa clothes. Sometimes she will hide in the branches of the great oak tree at night and leap on unsuspecting prey. Some say that when she ground her teeth, people could hear her, which would give them enough time to bolt their doors and keep away from the window. And it's also said that cottages in Leicestershire were purposefully built with small windows so that Black Anise could only get a single arm inside. It's believed that when she howled, she could be heard for up to 5 miles away, which would definitely give you enough time to run. Throughout Europe, the changeling legend has been widespread. Mentions of changelings can be found in Cornwall, Germany, Ireland, the Isle of Man, lowland Scotland and Northern Ireland, Poland, Scandinavia, Spain, and Wales. A changeling was believed to be a fairy child that had been left in the place of a human child who had been stolen by fairies. A changeling may appear sickly and won't grow to the size of a normal child, A common way to tell that a changeling could be identified as one is displaying unusual behaviour when it thinks it's alone, for example jumping, dancing or playing an instrument. The human child may be taken to act as servants, although in certain cases, very elderly fairy people may be exchanged for the place of a human so that the old fairy could live in comfort. They might not actually cause much of a problem, maybe a bit more demanding than a regular baby, but the idea that your baby could be taken and replaced is creepy as hell. A bogeyman figure that can be found in the Czech Republic and Slovakia is the Bubak, a creature without a typical form but is often represented as a scarecrow with a skeleton as a frame. According to legend, the Bubak would cry like an innocent, unprotected baby to lure its victims to their death. Some tales suggest that on a full moon the Bubak weaves cloth from the souls of those he has killed, and other legends state that he moves between the realm of the death and the living by driving a cart pulled by black cats. The First Nations Algonquin tribe, based in the northern forests of Nova Scotia, the east coast of Canada, and the Great Lakes region of Canada and in Wisconsin, United States, the Wendigo is a creature with some characteristics of a human or is a spirit who has possessed a human being and made them become monstrous. Its influence is said to cause acts of murder, insatiable greed, cannibalism, and other cultural taboos. Basil H. Johnson, an Ojibwe teacher and scholar from Ontario, gave a description of the Wendigo. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emancipation, its dissected skin pulled tightly over its bones. With its bones pushing out against its skin, its complexion the ash grey of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into their sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from suppuration of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odour of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. They are closely associated with times of coldness, famine, and starvation. In some traditions, it's believed that the Wendigo can mimic people's voices, pretending to be their loved ones, luring them to their death. For the next few creatures, we're going to be going over to Japan, because Japan has a habit of creating some really terrifying urban legends. One must forgive my pronunciation, or inevitable mispronunciation, of all of these Japanese terms and phrases. Kuchisake-onna was, in her life, either the adulterous wife or a concubine of a samurai. As a punishment for her infidelity, her husband sliced the corners of her mouth from ear to ear. After her death, she returned as a vengeful spirit, or an onryo. She will walk around with either a cloth mask on her face, or sometimes a surgical mask, a hand fan or a handkerchief over her mouth. She will carry a sharp instrument with her, a knife, machete, scythe, or a large pair of scissors. She will ask potential victims if they think she's attractive, phrased as watashi kiri, which translates to am I pretty or am I beautiful? If the person answers no, she will kill them with her weapon. If the person answers yes, she will reveal her mouth and repeats her question. If the person responds with no or screams in fright, she will kill the person. If they say yes, she will slit the corners of the person's mouth from ear to ear, so they are pretty like her. Some versions of the legend, Kuchisake-onna will leave the potential victim alone if they answer yes, though in other versions she will visit the person's residence later that night and murder them while they're sleeping. There are a few ways in which you can escape from Kuchisake-onna. By describing her as average, she will become confused, giving you enough time to run away, or you can distract her by throwing money or hard candies in her direction. She'll stop to pick them up. Or, if you tell her that you are late for an appointment or a train, she will apologize and let you go. Kuchisake-onna, watashi kiri. According to Japanese superstition, there's a spirit that lives between the gaps of things like furniture and slightly open doors. The girl in the gap. If you lock eyes with the girl in the gap, it will ask you to play hide and seek. But while playing, if you were to see the eyes in the gap again, you'd be instantly transported to hell. Akira-san was so badly mistreated by her parents that the beatings caused physical deformities, and because of this, her classmates began to bully her, and the bullying got worse and worse. She would hide in the bathroom because no one would want to talk to her, and every time she went out she would be taunted, teased and hit. In one version of the tale, she finds a kitten and takes care of him, bringing him food and keeping him safe in a box. One day, the children from school took the kitten and tied it to a rope around the back of a teacher's car. Hikio-san saw that the teacher was starting the car up and hadn't noticed the kitten. To save the kitten, Hikio launched herself, grabbing the rope and wrapping her body around the kitten to protect it. The car drove several kilometers with the girl clutched onto the back, protecting the kitten. When the teacher finally stopped the car and realized what was happening, it was too late. Although the kitten had survived, Hikio-san had died from being dragged along several kilometers. Hikio-san became a vengeful, vindictive spirit who walks through Japanese schools, punishing or killing children who bully others. She's notably known for dragging them across the floor until they are badly mutilated or dead. Hanako-san is a spirit of a young girl who haunts school bathrooms. It's said that if you go into the girls' bathroom to the third stall and knock 3 times and ask, "Hanako-san, are you there?" a voice will reply, "Yes, I am here." You then have 2 choices. You can either walk away or you can open the door. If you open the door, one of 2 things will happen. Number 1, you'll see Hanako-san standing there waiting for you before vanishing. Or number 2, she will drag you into the toilet and drown you. The Pontianak, or the Kuntilanak, is the ghost of a woman who died while pregnant. In Malaysian and Indonesian cultures, they are described as beautiful, pale-skinned women with long black hair. However, they have red eyes and are dressed in blood-smeared white. In folklore, she only appears under a full moon and announces her presence through high-pitched baby cries or feminine laughter. If the vocalizations are low in volume, then she's nearby, but if it's loud, she's far away. Some believe that when a dog is howling, it indicates that she's far away, but if the dog begins to whine, she's nearby. In the Indian version, the churel, she'll turn her feet backwards just before she transforms into her monstrous appearance. She will kill her victims by using her long fingernails to remove their internal organs so that she can eat them. Her preferred victims are men, as she wants to have revenge against a certain male individual. She's said to eviscerate the victim with her hands, and it's also said that if somebody has their eyes open when she's near, she will suck them out of the victim's head. It's also said that she could locate her prey by sniffing out their drying laundry, and because of that, some Malaysians refuse to leave any piece outside drying overnight. According to folklore, she can be fended off by driving a nail into a hole that is in the nape of her neck, which will cause her to turn into a beautiful woman and a good wife. But removing it will cause her to turn back again. The Indonesian kuntilanak is similar to the Malaysian Pontianak, but takes the form of a bird and sucks the blood of virgins and young women, making a ki 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 sound as it flies. I hope you guys weren't planning on having any sleep tonight. See you in the next video.